Hello and welcome. It's your boy Dante by Design coming at you live. Just kidding, I'm not live. But that being said, I kind of want to just take you guys through a little trip down memory lane with this one. I want to show you the game when it was first being made, the iterations I went through, and the thought process behind all those iterations. As you guys can see, this is kind of where the game's at this point. It's been in development for a little under 2 years. This game was birthed out of an idea from a capstone project in college. I really enjoyed the game MapleStory growing up, and it was really close to home for me. And going back to it, as many other games, and I'm sure many of you know, games over the years, they get different. They become different. And MapleStory was just something for me that was, you know, so special to me, and I didn't really feel like that same feeling when I logged back in more recently. And that feeling honestly has been gone for years, and I've been trying to chase it, and I guess this game is what I wish it was. You know, there's many things in MapleStory that I just can't do as a one-man team, but I can try. And yeah. So this is a game at its earliest stages. This was just when we were finished the capstone at this point. The game had a bunch of different levels. It had the same monsters, but they were, you know, they would scale with your level and stuff. As you could see, the abilities were pretty ugly looking. The game's art was ugly looking. I had no idea what we were doing. I knew, like, game design wise what I wanted, but I just, you know, when you first start making a game, it never kind of ends up how you want it. And that was this game for us. I keep saying us, sorry, it was a group project. But you know, slowly and surely I chipped away, and I learned, and I did my research, and in the back of my head, the game idea has always been there. You know, it's just a matter of execution. And this was my first attempt at it. And throughout the years and throughout many iterations, it got better. So this right here, this is probably a few months after that. I got some new art assets, as you can see. And I also got a lot of different things here. So we got some better looking damage numbers on the screen. We got the rain going in the background, which I thought was super cool. And this is kind of where the whole Terrible Day for Rain idea started to be born. Before that, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with the story or the lore. And I saw this really cool rain effect on YouTube when I was just browsing tutorials and doing what I got to do, you know what I mean? And I really wanted to incorporate that. I thought it looked really good in the game. And so, and as that idea came to life, you know, I wanted to do some world building around it. So I started to think, like, what's the story behind the game? Because anybody can really have a game, but it's pretty difficult to make it something meaningful in a way. You know what I mean? But after some story building and some world building, you know what I mean, I decided to kind of go a different route with it. My idea behind the story was there's this rain that happens in this world, and it's never ending, and it washes away all the soul and all the color from the world. And your job as Null is to kind of restore that vision, you know what I mean? And so after some time, oh man, I feel like the art is kind of downgraded. This looks really good. You know, that's kind of what game development is about, is that especially when you're like me and you have no art direction. I was kind of just trying things out. And I feel like that's important. It's good to have a vision, but you don't really know what is good and what looks good and what feels good until you put it in there and test it. And I think if anything, that's should be one of your takeaways is, you know, have fun with it. Think of an idea and try to build it out and see if you can do it and see if it feels good, and then iterate off that. You know, feel free to leave in the comments below what art style you enjoy best. It's all a process for me. I'm kind of working through it. Game development for me has kind of been an escape. At the time when I started this game, I wasn't in the best place mentally. And I kind of wanted to make something that, had I ever leave this world, you know, knock on wood, that something would exist that's a part of me. I'd be able to leave behind some sort of legacy or something that, you know, my friends or my family could play and think of me. I'm at a point in my life right now where things kind of just worked out. But I think at the time of making these clips and these videos, I didn't know where I was going to go and where I was going to end up. I thought I really wanted to be a game developer professionally. And then I ended up working on some teams and, you know, working with some people. They were great people, but I just didn't have fun building things that weren't mine to build. I learned a lot in those times, and I'm very grateful for those experiences. And I think it's important, if you are a developer, you want to be a developer, to, you know, try. I think it's important to, you know, try these things. Try game jams with your friends. Try building working on somebody else's project, working on somebody else's dream, helping them make it come true. Because your tool set is powerful. Like, if you can build, you can think of something and you can build that thing. If you get to a point where you can do that, I think that is very powerful in itself. And I think that is, it's important to share, you know, it's to share your talent, because you never know. Maybe you don't make a game that goes big, right? Maybe you don't make a game that, you know, blows up and gets viral and you become a billionaire, but you made something, and you made something that your friends and your family and the people around you love. If you ever were to pass, they can go back and play and think of you. And I think that's very, very powerful, you know, is so that you kind of immortalize yourself in a way. And I think video games are art. I think, you know, they're the modern art, and especially indie development too. It's like, you pour your heart and your fucking soul into this shit, man. Like, hours and hours just to see things kind of come together. And it's really nice to see, you know, it's really nice to, like, feel that. And I'm so grateful I took that step in making games, and I'm so grateful I ended up where I am today. You know, I don't think I can explain to you how powerful it is to make a game. Like, you can do anything. You know what I mean? Like, you can think of a mechanic that is the most absurd, crazy mechanic, and you could just plop that bad boy in there. You just need to think a little bit. You know what I mean? You just need to lock in and think and get something done and get it in the game, and you can feel it. You can feel your work happen in real time, and it's like the biggest hit of dopamine. I cannot explain to you how many times I've been like jumping for joy over something in my game, something that's changed, and I don't get that feeling from a lot of places, you know what I mean? Like, video games, playing video games is fun. Playing with your friends is fun. Watching streamers is fun. But at the end of the day, like, I felt, at least, like, what did I do? What have I done all day? You know what I mean? And being able to work on something and make something up to the point where you're having more fun playing your game than making your game. Like, I was having a blast recording this video. I'm just jumping around, you know, I'm chaining skills to keep my movement going. I got skills, I got skill points. I got a forge system in recently. I got an inventory system in recently. I added all these new items. Like, it's just seeing this come to life, seeing your vision come to life is so human. Oh, look at that legendary drop, baby. Let's go. Auto equips. Like, man. You know, there's things in game development that you're gonna inherently struggle with. For me, it was art. It's level design. It's music. It's any audio. But you kind of just have to learn. Like, you don't have another choice other than to kind of figure it out, and I think that's really cool. Like, of course you can hire somebody. You can get some help on some things, and I probably will. Hopefully I can raise some money or something to get an artist in and kind of tidy everything up, because as you can see with the pink glowing stars and the black character model and, you know, all of these, the purple background and the white platforms, like, things just don't look the best. And you might think, like, inherently, if we go back here, like, some of this stuff looked arguably better. I personally, I don't know until I see it, you know what I mean? So, like, all of these different iterations, all of these different things that I've done to the game to kind of push it in a direction, I was just trying to figure it out, you know, and that's kind of the beauty of game development, is you have to learn, you have to adapt, and you have to change. And I think my genre of game that I wanted to make is very unique. I think it's very niche, and I don't think a lot of people would necessarily like it. I think it's kind of made a game for me rather than a game for the masses, which is okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If anything, I think it's cool to have a passion project and something to, like, look forward, you know, to working on. And I'm thankful for all my friends and my family that kind of put up with playtesting and all of these things and listening to me talk about my game and creating my game, and I hope that one day I can finish it. And as I'm developing all these new features and all these new mechanics, I kind of feel it kind of coming to, not coming to an end, but coming closer to release. And as much as I'd like my game to succeed, I can't force it to succeed. I just have to make what I think is a good game and hope that other people see it too. You know, one regret I have about making games is I wish I started earlier. I wish I started sooner. I wish I knew it was possible to do this kind of stuff on your own. Growing up, I always thought it was cool. I never really was into programming or anything like that until college, and that's kind of when I realized that, you know, I can kind of make anything that I wanted to make when it comes to games. And you saw that kind of like the progression of the game in the video at the start, and you know, kind of what it's come to is that, you know, my goal behind this game was to kind of capture the feeling of melancholy. The more I kind of wanted to pour my own emotion into the game and how I was feeling in that moment, and I guess that's kind of reflective of my art style in that moment, which is kind of cool. You know, at this point, a lot of my life was black and white. It was kind of rise and grind, wake up, work on the game for 15 hours and go to bed. And I guess that's kind of reflective in the art style here. And if you go, you know, later on to where it's at right now, very vibrant, very full of life, very saturated. I think that kind of reflects where I am right now in life. Is things kind of just ended up working out, and I have a wonderful job. I have a beautiful girlfriend. I moved out of my parents' place, you know, and that's kind of reflected in the game in a way. I don't know if you can see that, but that's kind of how I feel about it. Same little avatar the whole way through, you know what I mean? You know, I talked a little bit about my struggles, and I think one of that I missed is boss design. I feel like my core gameplay loop and my boss design for this game is going to be a struggle. I haven't gotten there yet. I mean, I've gotten to my core gameplay loop, obviously, but I haven't gotten to the boss design part yet, and that's kind of like the next pillar that I have to tackle. I'm going to, you know, do my research. I'm going to look at MapleStory bosses. I'm going to look at other bosses, and I'm just going to try to figure out like what exactly would be good for this game. I think it would be really fun to have a super challenging bosses, because the grind now is pretty mindless and pretty easy. There's not really a way to die or get punished, and I kind of want to keep it that way. I don't think the player, like, I want to keep the game play fast moving, and I want to keep the player like interacted the whole time. And you know, I think like gearing up and going to fight the boss is going to be fun. That's kind of my next step for this. And you know, with indie development, it's like the game is one thing, right? Like making the game is hard, sure, but like you kind of have an idea of what to do, like intuitively. If you know what vision or what kind of game you want to make, you kind of know what works. And if you've played games for a while, you know what feels good and what mechanics are, you know, necessary. Like for example, I integrated the inventory system, but then I watched my girlfriend play the game, and she was picking up all the items, but she wasn't putting them on. So I put in an auto equip system, and you know, move some things around a bit to make it more accessible for somebody who doesn't play games as much as I do. And I think that's important to play test and kind of play with people of different gaming abilities, because you want to make it accessible. You don't want to make it super hard where, you know, your average player can get on and like they want to be able to play the game intuitively, you know. And I think that's something that is important. But sorry, what I was saying is marketing, you know. Fuck. Like, making a game is one thing, but to actually market the game and do the business side of things, like, that's crazy. That's a whole nother beast that I don't even know how to research. I don't even know how to tackle. Like, I've looked at it You gotta get your wish list up, and that's part of why I'm making the video. It's because I want eyes on the game. But how to get eyes on the game, I don't know. I'm hoping it'll be appealing enough to like watch. I guess we'll see. Getting pretty late here, guys. I think I'm gonna sign out. Thank you for watching, and however I choose to chop up this video and edit it, I hope you enjoyed, and I apologize. This is the first video I've ever made. Not too sure what I'm doing here, but I just kind of want to show you something and show you that it's possible to, you know, start at this and end at this. So without further ado, hit that subscribe if you want to see more of my game. You know, I'm working on the Steam page. If any of you guys are artists and you want to help me out with some art, or, you know, depending on how well this video does, I could probably pay you some or something. And if MapleStory is a game that you grew up playing and a game that you kind of have nostalgia for, I really recommend checking my game out. It's called A Terrible Day for Rain. It's centered around a character, Noel. You play as him, and you have to find the meaning behind the melancholy and restore the color of the world. This has been a wonderful experience for me, and I hope that if you guys do make games, or you're making games, or, you know, you're thinking about it, I hope that you do make a game, and I hope that you do give something to this world that will be immortal. Make art, make games, have fun, and just take care of yourself. Dante by Design, Doozy HD, signing out. Good night.